Hello and welcome to the Golden Wheel Tavern. It's so good to see you all again. Unfortunately, the bartender's out today. They've been having a few digestive issues. Not the same plague as the last time. This is different. Last time it was a plague. These are just digestive issues. So instead, it will just be us today. You and me and the new Displacer Beast, who has decided to make themselves comfortable upon my lap immediately upon the introduction. Would you like to say something into the mic? No? Okay, well, you can go then. But it's just us, which means we are returning to a place you may remember, the Castle of Memories. We will once again be playing this solo TTRPG, as is the course of action whenever the bartender is unavailable. Although I do have a couple more solo TTRPGs up my sleeve, so who knows, maybe next time we'll take a break from this and maybe play some Ironsworn or one of the TTRPGs that I got in a huge bundle. Oh, it ends in a month, so it's still readily available. Okay, so when this comes out, and in fact by the time the next episode comes out as well, you can get a bundle full of solo TTRPGs. Well, this is where I have to nitpick a little because this is something that does bother me. A collection of solo TTRPGs and journaling games. Because a lot of these are just journaling games, or even more interesting little things like little games, solo kind of games where like when you go to drink your tea in the morning you roll a d8 and determine what kind of potion it is type thing. I don't know how to describe those, but it's a good bundle. There are plenty of good things in there. There's just also a lot of like journaling games. If that's what you're into, great. Otherwise, there's plenty of stuff in there for you. It's called Solo But Not Alone 5. It is a bundle designed to support charity. They're partnering with Take This, which is a mental health charity. So, if you want a bunch of solo TTRPGs, literally there's 107 items in the bundle. Go ahead and check it out on itch.io. That is Solo But Not Alone 5. I did not get this TTRPG from that bundle. I got it from a different TTRPG bundle, but I'm sure there are plenty of great solo TTRPGs in that bundle. Like I said, I have so many solo TTRPGs now. I also have another one I picked up recently called Ironsworn that I've heard is really good. So if I ever want to take a break from this, there are those. So who knows, might change it up next time. But that's enough rambling and talking about a thing I'm not related to at all. Speaking of supporting things, if you want to support us and this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/thetavernkeepsguide and support us there at $5 or up a month, $5 or more a month to get bonus content. That includes cold intro, cold outro, side talk diatribes, and specifically when this episode is coming out, a little like silly thing that happened where we kind of had to abandon recording an episode. So you get kind of just an extra long cold intro that didn't really go anywhere. It's very interesting and a bit explicit. So if you want that, go to the Patreon. If you want to support us non-monetarily, the best way you can do so is telling somebody about the show. Really telling other people about us and helping us grow is the best way to support us, honestly and truly, and we appreciate every one of you. And then another great way to support us is the social media. So that's going to be Blue Sky, Mastodon, YouTube. Go promote, like, retweet, reblog, share, whatever, comment, leave a like, leave a rating, whatever it is you do to boost us in the ratings on whatever method you get information about us from. The Tumblr as well. Go there, like, reblog, whatever, follow on the Tumblr. Go to all those places and help us get boosted in the algorithm a little. It really helps. Growth is what we need. Growth is what we need now more than anything else, so we really appreciate it. But that's enough rambling on and on. There's no bartender's brew for today. In reference to the clip the patrons are getting, hydrate or dihydrate, drink some water. Okay, so now we begin. pushed through the large large doors and entered into the grand library. It smelled of old paper and dry ink. It was a comforting smell, actually. I had always enjoyed studying in the libraries. I'd always enjoyed the weight of the tomes as I carried them. There was something real and physical about the knowledge I was carrying when moving around those books, and this place is no different. It brings me comfort to be here, in a way, which is strange. I don't really feel comfortable in this place, but I think this is the closest I'm going to get for a while. Unfortunately, this place is not kind to strangers, it would seem. For almost as soon as I entered into this grand library, I was set upon suddenly by something that dropped from the ceiling. It looked like a living shadow as it dropped upon me. It was leathery, and with teeth and fangs it tried to rip into me. As it descended down towards me, I raised my spear to try to catch it in midair. Unfortunately, it was nimble in its movement and dodged out of the way. I was not so nimble, but its teeth and claws couldn't catch into my armor. Fortunately, I was protected. Okay. So then I struck at it again. My spear found purchase in its leathery flesh, though, but it writhed and went to strike me again. Fortunately, I was able to simply dodge out of its claws this time now that I'd peeled it off me with the spear. Unfortunately, while it writhed against my spear, trying to slash at me and get through my armor that it couldn't, it managed to snap my spear in half with proper leverage. I was almost impressed, and I would have been out of sorts had I not purchased that mace from that merchant just a little bit ago. Fortunately, I drew my mace and struck this creature down. Finally. Took too long. It's too dangerous to fight these things. So I gained 1 XP from that battle. Take your 7th improvement. So I shouldn't be keeping track of how much XP I've spent, but rather how many improvements I've gotten. So I've gotten 1 improvement, and I have 2 XP now. And I'm now over to my mace. How fun. Okay. That leathery beast writhed and fought against me a little too well for my comfort, and unfortunately my spear was broken, rendering it useless. I was back to a single weapon. A bad incident had dropped my mace, or I lose it, and I'm helpless in this place. How unfortunate. But I must carry on. As I exited from this first entryway room, the flesh of that beast lying on the floor, I passed into what seemed to be a calmer room. I smelled incense burning, and I saw books that I could recognize as holy texts. I don't know of what religions, but I could recognize books of importance and religion when I see them. I can also recognize when there's somebody else in the room, and there was someone standing over a desk, hands on either side of a book they were looking down at intensely, their brow deeply furrowed. Excuse me, sir. Can you... I just need some help. The figure looked up from his book. Yeah, well, so do I. I can't make heads or tails of this. Everything I've read beforehand contradicts everything in this book, but as far as I can tell, it's well written and well researched. I think you're not going to find the answers you want in this place. Yeah, well, I don't think I'm gonna find much of anything here, but at least this book's interesting. But you know what helped me out more? Go out there and get rid of some of those demons or those undead. Sick and tired of them. I feel them in my bones, and it irritates me to no end. I just shake my head. What do you mean you can feel it in your bones? Well, I'm a holy man, and it's my job to clear places of those things. And I swear, they're around here somewhere, and I need you to go and get rid of them. Can't be having them. They're unacceptable. And he reaches in the bag and pulls out a small pouch. He's like, I have some offerings I can give you in exchange. You know what? I'll take whatever I can get in this place. I passed through the small religious study. I pressed on forward, knowing this place would likely be the death of me if I didn't find another weapon or something. I was so busy thinking about my options that I didn't even really pay attention to where I was going, and I nearly bumped into the stranger I found. Part of the reason I almost bumped into them was because of their massive backpack they carried upon their shoulders. It was huge, and, well, they nearly bumped into me as much as I bumped into them. When they whipped around, the clattering and clanging of their bag was excruciatingly loud. "Why, hello there! A potential customer! Why, I'm so glad to see someone with a good head on their shoulders and a few gold in their pocket. Why are you here? Why, to sell wares, of course. Why else would I be here? Can you tell me anything about this place? Anything of use?" "Why, I can tell you something of very great use. There are treasures in this place, and if you bring them to me, I can give you things. I can give you things in return for treasures. You know what? Fine. Here. Is there a weapon you can provide me? I broke my spear earlier," and I hand the pouch of gold coins over to the merchant. He took them and he shook them. And he pulled one out and he bit down on it. Genuine. I expect swindlers in this place. "Here, have this sword. It's a sword with an ancient history, long past. It carries with it many, many memories of ancient fights and wars of scope beyond imagination." And I just shake my head at this strange man. I take the sword. I know I'll need it. I don't want to need it. I don't want to be here, but something's keeping me here. Maybe it's me, but I have to know what I've lost. And so I take the sword and I proceed. Fortunately, in this merchant's room, there were two exits. Took the one to my left. Felt more, I don't know, interesting that way. Unfortunately, it wasn't very interesting. I simply hit a hallway, but it did have many doors. And so I took the first to the right, since the left led to a boring hallway. Unfortunately, the room it led to was also boring. Fortunately, it was boring in the good way. There were potions, food, things to keep me healthy and well. I could rest here. I could take a break, take a breath, and gather myself. I steeled myself and made my way back into that long hallway. I then proceeded further down and took another door on the right-hand side. Why, this hallway seemed to be full of boons, blessings, so very much. Why, it contained treasure. So I dug through and found a diamond necklace. It seemed familiar, like I had forgotten something, but it was so recent, it was clawing at the back of my mind. I'm missing something. Why this diamond necklace? Why can't I remember it? I then trekked my way back into that long hallway. Since I'd taken the two doors on the right, I figured I'd take one on the left. Unfortunately, boring begets boring, and I found yet another long hallway. This one with 3 doors upon the right-hand side. I decided to take the first right-hand door and see what lies behind it. I found a rather comfortable lounge, in a way. There were chairs and a crackling fireplace, and there was a man sitting in one of the chairs, a book in his lap, a familiar book. A book I had just seen. "Hey, what are you doing here? I can still sense those demons, those undead. You're supposed to go get them." I put both my hands up, said, Yep, I'll go get them." "Yeah, you better. I don't want any of those demons or undead disturbing me while I'm reading." "You're not demon or undead, are you?" No, sir. Not as far as I'm aware." Fine. I immediately walked back out. What a strange fellow he was. Second door on the right of this long hallway. There we go. And perception, no. So, I entered into the rectangular room, bookshelves on both sides, bookshelves sticking out into the middle. I should have realized that the space between the shelves would be perfect for something to hide in, but I wasn't thinking about that, when all of a sudden I was set upon. 3. As I continued down this library-like section, I know the great library, but this with the rows of shelves sticking out, creating pathways between them. It felt like I was back in the old Where was it? Why could I not remember? Suddenly I was flanked on both sides by rotting things with flesh sloughing off of them, their jaws exposed with fangs sharp and dripping with black ichor. These were probably the undead I was being warned about previously, and I was caught off guard, unfortunately. I pointed at one of the undead charging at me and spoke a strange incantation I had never learned, but it bubbled up from within me from the memory I had. And that's a success. Suddenly, my desire to defeat these things, I could feel it being turned from me to one of the undead. Suddenly, one of them turned against their fellow undead. The other one still charged at me. And it unfortunately was able to sink its bony fingertips into my chainmail and grip deep into my flesh. It hurt so badly. It stung. My chainmail could not protect me forever. The other beast swung at its companion, but its companion was too strong, I guess, and there was no actual hit. There was nothing of meat being done. Roll to see if my spell maintains. I'm gonna say it doesn't with that. Just unfortunate. Okay. I had to fight back. I had to do something. And so I took up my mace and I raised it and swung it against one of these horrible monsters. Fortunately, I was able to get one of them. But unfortunately, one of them was able to get me. The monsters scrape and scratch and try to bite me. I'm nimble but not perfect. They purchase against me a few times, clawing at my armor, and although it protects me somewhat, they still rip into my flesh. I can feel myself starting to be weakened and deeply damaged by these things as they just try to tear me apart. I'm fighting for all I have here, for all I know. I land a couple good blows. One of them, they swing at me and I'm able to knock their bony, sharp fingers away with my shield, opening them up as I catch them cleanly with my mace. But it's just so many attacks all at once. It's a flurry of activity and then it's over. The two strange things, these undead, rotted, but filled with vigor, these things lie in front of me, dead. I don't know how to process what just happened, but I know someone's going to be happy, and so I attempt to return to the priest. Unfortunately, I am caught in the hallway. Ooh, narratively, this sucks. Oh, I should have rested. Oh no. So unfortunately, as I go back into the hallway, down at the end of it, I hear snarling and I turn and see these, well, hard to describe. They were muscly and almost humanoid in form, but their skin was scaly and crimson and they smelled of brimstone. These were demons. They weren't simply undead, they were demons. And they charged at me. I raised my mace and the fight began. Now this might be an interesting one. I might have to run away during this fight. I decided to flee at this moment. I couldn't take on another one without resting. I needed to take a moment. Fortunately, my memories came back to me, and it seems like running away is the thing I've been best at my entire life. Fortunately, running away just means I turn one of my cards sideways, one of my cool magic doodad cards. I take a deep breath. This place is going to be the death of me, but I get to rest and restore my slots. I need to be stronger. I need to be better. And so I take a moment to reflect. I'm actually going to spend 5 of my 6 to increase my max HP to 9 and gain a new memory. As I take a moment to reflect in this place, something calls to me from the back of my mind. Something deep, lying deep within. It is the Ace of Pentacles. So, Ace of Pentacles for the memory guide means everyday memory. But what is the Ace? So, Pentacles represents money, work, material possessions. according to this. Do this, choose one of the 4 emotions you associate with the new memory. A rather common memory, no less precious. I was a young lad, a young boy. I was walking down the street with my father. We were headed to an old acquaintance of his, an old man who lived in a grand house, grand, almost regal house, a palace. He met us out on his front lawn. He looked at me and said, "Well, aren't you growing fast? Soon enough, you'll be a grown man and you'll have a castle, a palace just like this, all to yourself." I smiled and laughed. He was known for being silly, for saying silly things. Yet what he said made me happy. Going to go with joy. We're going to go actually protect death, which I'm going to interpret as protecting from death, which we will then do as the -1 damage for encounter. Combat magic. When you use magic to affect combat abilities. Yep. Now that I had taken some time to reflect and taken some time to finally feed myself properly, I decided I would take care of those demons and then go talk to that priest. I made my way back through that long hallway, and there they were, the demons. They were waiting for me, but I was ready for them this time. So we'll make a mind check real quick. Spell does go awry. In calling forth the memory of that palace to guard me, its weight threw me to the ground. And unfortunately, the beasts struck at me while I was down. So, skip that turn, because I lose a turn, and then that, so I do get to... The magic, it worked to protect me quite well, even as I was down there. Their fiery fangs could not pierce both the magic and the armor. I was safe from them for now. One of them swung too wide, and just its hands glanced off my armor, leaving it open as I swung at it with my mace. It dodged out of the way, but on the return swing I caught it squarely. Once again, their claws and fangs could not pierce my armor, and the same one, in the same foolish manner, swung at me, clipped against me, and left it wide open. This time I knew how it dodged, and I brought my mace down upon its head. Yet when I swung, it was aware of how my return swing was, and it successfully dodged. Oh no. Ow. That sucks. Okay. And then... Oh no. After the beast had lunged out of the way of my attack, it pierced right through my spell, right into my armor, and its fiery claws gripped onto the chain mail, and it melted in its grasp. It melted a hole straight through the mail, and it sloughed off me like water. My armor was gone. I panicked and immediately swung at this beast. It was knocked aside. Its head caved in. It was done, but its companion was still there, and it was not kind. It swung and swung and swung and clawed and clawed and clawed and ripped my flesh from my body. I was too determined, too foolish to leave at this point, but I should have left, because now my flesh was flayed from me and I was in tatters by the time I had collapsed the skull of that demon as well. But it was done. It was done. It was done. I leaned over one of the corpses, looked down on it. Something in my mind recalled something, me gathering something, and I could feel energy from this corpse flowing into me as I regained one health. Hooray. I then made my way into that room with the priest. They looked at me, and I saw a wide grin spread across their face. Well done! Well done, my friend! You've done well. Here, take this, and since you did it twice and I've seen you twice, take this as well. And he gave me both some gold bands and a set of silverware. I knew where I had to go. I couldn't explore any further down these hallways with demons and undead. I made my way back to that room with the merchant. As I entered, their face beamed. Ah! I can see you've got treasures. Things you can exchange for goods, my friend. Yes. Do you happen to have any armor, please? Why, yes, I have the finest of armor. Hold out chain shirt, which I gladly traded my set of silverware for, now that mine had been reduced to nothing. If you need anything else, just let me know. I will. I'm sure I'll be back with more goods at some point. But what I need most is just a break. Oh, yes, of course. I'll just step aside. You take all the time you need. And I sit down, take a breath, and I rest for an hour here, which gives me 8. Or it gains me 5 and puts me at 8 HP. And in fact, I will use the sun to restore my 2 spells. I decided to press on through the right door out of this room this time, seeing as last time it led me to demons and undead. I entered into another room to find a man dressed head to toe in armor. Head to toe in thick armor. I wish I had just a sliver of the protection he had. What ho, traveler! Glad to see you here. You see, I am on the hunt for a beast. A monster. And if you could slay one for... Wait. No. I'm done killing things. For now, I just almost got killed by demons and undead. Demons and undead, you say? Why would you fight those when there's monsters and beasts to hunt? Listen, I am an adventurer well-traveled, and I carry with me many treasures. Why don't you go ahead and find, if you can, a beast or a monster, and bring it back to me, and I shall share these treasures with you. I don't want any treasures. I'm not sure what I want anymore. Well, if you decide to change your mind, you know where to find me. And the strange armored man took a pose as though he was a statue. I frankly didn't care at this point. I was exhausted. I was tired of this library. I wanted something new. Behind this knight was a large set of double doors. The kind I'd seen before, leading to the garden, or rather the greenhouses, and leading to this library. Maybe this could be the way out? Could be something new? As I went to push open these double doors, something in my mind lit up. Temperance. Complexity, refinement, balance, practice, fusion, perfection, self-regulation. Temperance, about balance, practice, fusion. The memory that came back to me was one of me sitting on a dock, listening to the waves lap slowly against the rocks nearby. I lifted the instrument beside me and set it in my lap. I began to turn the small crank on it as it began to drone, and I pressed the keys with my other hand, letting the droning harmonies echo out across the water. I could be great someday. I could be the greatest. I could sail across the sea. I could set out and show the world how great I really am. And then I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was him, the young lad, charming, beautiful lad. He smiled at me. I smiled at him. I could never sail across the sea as long as he was there, because he wouldn't sail with me. I had to rein it in, bring it all back. Okay, I'm gonna say that memory invokes sorrow. This might be a little overpowered, but I like the idea of it. Because what it's going to be for spell summon perfection, 1 round, roll twice for everything. Choose better. Essentially 1 round of rolling with advantage. So I'd use the spell, the enemy's attacks would be essentially at disadvantage, and then my attacks would be at advantage, in a way. Something about him nagged at my mind. I stayed on this side of the sea for him. Okay, so we will roll a d6 to determine next zone's thing. 7 rooms, that's fine. And, themings. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. D10. D10 said, nope, I'm out of here. Oh, there it is. 6. Nope. I did that one. 3. Okay. I pushed open these large double doors and was met with cold, damp stone. It appears I would be descending into the dungeons. And that's it for this session. Longer, but that's because the intro took forever. I had fun with this one. I think I may change it up next time and do a different system just for different feels. But yeah, I'm having fun with this. If you guys want extra content, you can go to the Patreon at patreon.com/tavernkeepsguide. And if you want to support us, the best way to do so otherwise is the social medias or telling other people about the show. Really, best way to support us is telling other people about the show, and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much for listening, and as always, make sure to tip the barmaids.